The Minnesota Vikings have requested interviews with 8 head coaching candidates so far. That is the start. That is the beginning. This is not the endo list of all that stuff. But Vikings fans, of course, what about my guy? What about candidate XYZ? What about me? All right, so it has been puzzling why the Vikings haven't contacted some of the supposed hot names in this coaching cycle. Notably, Chiefs OC Eric Bieniemy, former Vikings running backs coach, Bucks OC Byron Leftwich, Bills OC Brian Daboll, 7 for 7 on touchdowns the first 7 drives, no big deal. Patriots OC Josh McDaniels, he's got some free time. And Titans OC Todd Downing, the pride of Eden Prairie, as well as former Dolphins head coach Brian Flores has been tossed in there as well. So the question is, why haven't the Vikings reached out? It's not like those guys aren't doing interviews, except for Josh McDaniels, who said, I'm not interviewing until the Patriots knocked out of the playoffs. You got some free time now, bro. But looking around, Bieniemy has been requested by the Broncos. Leftwich has already interviewed with the Jaguars, his former team. Requested by the Bears. Daboll has completed interviews with the Dolphins and the Bears. Oh my. Josh McDaniels, none. Todd Downing, none. Brian Flores, Bears and Texans. So there's a couple reasons why the Vikings perhaps may have not reached out to some of these hot names so far. We wanted to run through them. Number one, maybe they said no. Right? Because the first thing the teams do is they reach out through the agents. There's feelers out there because before a formal request goes through, they double check just to make sure that, hey, we're going to request it, and if the other team approves it, we're going to go through with the interview because they want to. The candidate wants to do that because it would be so embarrassing. It would be a blight on your franchise if you requested an interview and they're like, nah. Just like the Panthers and Pat Hamilton, they want to interview him to be OC. He's like, no. Now, I'll just stick with Houston, even though we don't have a head coach right now, whatever there. And also, sticking with one, maybe the Vikings didn't want them. I mean, Daboll's personality can be a grind. Eric Bieniemy should get his shot, yes. I'm surprised that he hasn't gotten more head coaching opportunities or to interview, whether it be this cycle, last cycle, wherever. But the Wilfs were owners when Bieniemy was here as running backs coach, and familiarity can cut both ways. Like, how many people do you know were like, yeah, I love that guy because I know them, or I know that guy? Nah. Even though on the surface, us on the outside as fans, we're like, Bieniemy all day. Maybe there's a reason why he hasn't gotten the shot yet with the Vikings. Number two, the general manager search is still ongoing, and the Vikings have said they want to hire the GM first, even though it started out, we're going to hire the GM first, and then it became, the GM's going to have input on hiring a head coach, but also transitively, that means that the GM will be hired first. So they want to check that box. Interviews are still ongoing this week. Maybe they'll have a hire by the end of the week or the weekend, and then maybe the GM head coach is a package deal. You look at Monty Ossenfort, formerly the Patriots, now with the Titans. He has ties with McDaniels and Flores, as well as Todd Downing. Ryan Poles of the Chiefs, our guy, has ties with Bieniemy and Doug, and also John Spytek ties with Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich. So maybe they're waiting to get that GM in place, and then the interview will just be a formality. Like maybe part of the deal is, hey, Monty Ossenfort, if we hire you, will you hire McDaniels? They're like, yes. Hey, Ryan Poles, if we hire you, will you hire Eric Bieniemy? Yes. Hey, Spytek, if we hire you, you're going to go all on Leftwich? Yes. That could be part of it. Possible reason number 3, all the teams of those potential hot candidates, except for Flores, who does not have a team, they're still in the playoffs. And maybe the Vikings are respectful of that. Even though, yes, they've requested Todd Bowles and Raheem Morris and Kevin O'Connell and D'Amico Ryans and Nathaniel Hackett. All those teams are still in the dance. Maybe they don't want to overload the plate of some of these candidates. So they see that Leftwich and Daboll already have 2 interviews. They just don't want to add a third or a fourth, just out of respect to the Bucks and the Bills, respectively. Possibly, right? Number 4, maybe they know. Like maybe they know that Leftwich is going to go to Jacksonville. That makes sense. A fait accompli. The prodigal son comes home. Maybe Flores is going to go to Houston with Nick Caserio. Maybe they actually hold on to Deshaun Watson. So why even bother at that point? I mean, they could just be turned down, and then that looks embarrassing too. I mean, it's best to be like, we're not interested. Yes, we're not interested in the guy who's definitely going to the other place. Number 5. Since the Vikings are a destination job with talent and infrastructure, they can wait. You look at teams that have been really getting after it when it comes to their head coaching search. You look at the Bears, you look at the Dolphins, you look at the Jaguars. They need to strike fast and offer the job immediately. Also, 2 of those teams, the Dolphins and the Jaguars, essentially have a lame duck GM in Chris Greer and Trent Baalke, respectively. So, I mean, they're not great jobs. There's a reason why they're constantly have a gong show. And the Dolphins, bad ownership. The Jaguars, bad GM, a bad team, even though they do have the number 1 overall pick. So because those jobs suck, they have to hit their candidates right away, and they have to get in front of them. They have to be like, hey, would you like the job? And these guys who've dreamed about being an NFL head coach in their entire lives, they're like, okay, well, it's 1 out of 32. There are only 32 jobs in the league. I could wait for the Vikings, but they haven't really made a move yet. So I guess they'll say yes to the Bears. I guess they'll say yes to the Jaguars and the Dolphins, etc. It's possible. But, I mean, the Vikings, for the candidates that have a lot of clout, the candidates are going to have options. They can wait. They could wait because the Vikings, stable ownership. The head coach will be walking in with a brand new GM, clean slate there. They have a talented roster. You have 1 year left of Kirk, and then you have all that beautiful cap space, best facilities in the league, both stadium and training facilities. So, yeah, the Vikings can sit back like, it's a plush job. It's a damn good job. So maybe that's why they're sitting back a little bit, where you see teams with lesser jobs are just scrambling all right away. But like I said, don't freak out. I mean, just because, well, I don't like any of the candidates that have requested. It's a long process. I wouldn't be shocked if by the end there will be, I don't know, 16, maybe even 20 head coaching candidates that have gone formally through the process. It's possible. It is possible. And it's very possible the next Vikings head coach hasn't even been contacted yet, hasn't even been connected with the Vikings as of yet. So it's a long process. GM's going to be first, and then that's going to tell you who potentially could be in as head coach. Because I think once the GM gets in there, I think there will be a short list. I think they'll hit that thing hard. So I think by the end of the week, we'll have a GM. And then maybe by the end of next week, or potentially even longer, maybe the dead week in between the Super Bowl, the Vikings will have a head coach. But again, keep Skull alive, trust the process, have an open mind. But your thoughts are thoughts. Reasons why the Vikings haven't contacted or requested the hot head coaching candidate names yet, let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work, put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skull, production value.